A Godhead Breakthrough with 5-MeO malt, MDMA and ketamine. I listened to a Leo Gura YouTube video called 5-MeO malt, the other God molecule. 5-MeO malt is one of the tryptamines that Alexander Shulgin created. The first few times I tried the substance by itself, it was a little underwhelming, mostly because of the strong sexual energy it produces. Totally distracting for deeper spiritual journeying. Although, I have to admit, when me and the wife did malt together, the sex was otherworldly, primal even. My main goal, however, when I have a day off, is to commune with God. Previously, I had attempted this with NN-DMT. This proved difficult for me at least, because it was hard to get the 3 inhalations in without coughing up a storm, while the drug turns out the lights and catapults you into hyperspace. Maybe I never made it out of the DMT waiting room to a so-called breakthrough. From what I've experienced, the otherworldly dimension seemed like a carnival. I never felt comfortable and was very intimidated by the entities I encountered. I do believe they are benevolent, but they are lacking human warmth. The 5-MeO malt taken orally hits with a warm energy in the base of the spine. It feels like a nootropic where you can think very clearly and has been praised for use in deep meditation. One day, I enjoyed a 2-hour meditation with it and felt like I was done. It was a rainy day that I had all to myself and wanted a deeper experience. So, I took 300 milligrams of ketamine. I really did not know that the malt was still working in my system, but I found out immediately that this was no ordinary ketamine trip. Ketamine is a wonderful substance by itself. It always comforts me in layers of colour and texture that seem to wrap me in love. It relaxes me to the core and even offers thoughtful processing of whatever psychological issues I'm working on. Synergized with the malt, I felt like I broke through the pleasant waves of colour into quantum thought responsive source code. I entered the code and could direct it to answer any question. Instead of psychedelic swirls, I was now experiencing a 4K high-definition interaction with a highly empathic divine presence. This presence read my mind and took me on a journey, answering my deepest questions about human life and the universe. And it didn't just happen that once. I was able to reliably create the experience every single time. Since both substances are taken orally, it is easy to dose and administer. You'd think I'd be happy with this result, but then I decided to add a dash of MDMA. What follows is a typical experience. 8 AM. I take 500 milligrams of lion's mane mushroom powder, magnesium L-threonate, and now brand True Focus. I don't eat, I plan to fast the whole day. I take just a swig of water because nothing ruins a ketamine trip worse than the urge to urinate. I do prepare a glass of water and electrolytes to drink later. Just as a side note, on a personal level, I think if you are taking ketamine, you do want to be drinking water the whole time because ketamine dehydrates you like mad. And also, it's a great way to flush it out of your system as well. I think most people know that ketamine affects the bladder wall quite badly. Obviously, even if you're just using it that once, you're not going to have super destructive effects just from that one little ketamine experience, but it's still better to be safe than sorry, so yeah, I just thought I'd insert that little addendum. I do prepare a glass of water and electrolytes to drink later. I enter my little studio and get the cello and nature sounds playlist going on Spotify. I've tried many types of music, and for some reason this playlist just hits the right chords, and I swear activates the medicine. I highly recommend searching for this exact playlist. I plugged only 135 milligrams of MDMA mixed with saline and enjoyed the come up and peak for about 90 minutes. I do it this way because it seems to hit cleaner and last longer. Also, when taking multiple medicines, it seems to be less stress on my body to have things absorbing in different places. At 9:30, I take a 200 milligram modafinil, which is a gentle stimulant and brain enhancer, and it helps me easily remember my experience. At the same time, I mix 15 milligrams of 5-MeO malt in 1 milliliter of saline in a shot glass. Before swallowing, I swish in my mouth for 15 minutes, allowing a portion to absorb in the gums and cheeks. Now, I enjoy this come-up and synergy with the MDMA tail for about an hour. I feel peaceful and in a great state of mind. I use this time to prepare my intention for the deep entry into the source code of the universe and my entry into the Godhead. At 10:30, I take 12 squirts of 10 mg of a milliliter saline dilution of ketamine and 3 120mg ketamine troches. I chew the troches and make a bolus of fluid in my mouth, which I switch every few minutes for about half an hour, the time it takes to break through. I get comfortable in my chair, put the headphones on, and pull the eye mask down. First, it's the wonderful colours or K-hole room, or the gentle feeling of floating in a forest. Then, the breakthrough happens like this, and let me speculate on how it works. First, I feel my jaw vibrating. Not like the jaw clamours from too much MDMA, but a high vibration pulsing. I didn't think much about it in my first few experiences, until I realised I was using my jaw as a tuner. If you've ever taken apart an old radio, the tuner is a dial that changes the distance of resonance plates to receive a given frequency radio signal. No joke, I think the human jaw works like resonance plates to tune into the background frequency of this particular realm. My molars begin vibrating way faster than the muscles could move them, and I can only hypothesize that the signal is transmitted from my skull to the pineal gland. It is a feeling of hitting the right frequency, and then you are there. The best way to describe it is a data stream that is all around you and you are a part of. There is a weird familiarity being here, like, this is my true being, free from all my human limitations. I could see the divine language, like runes, sacred geometry, and source code fractals in all the visuals. It was pure 360-degree awareness along with pure somatic and emotional bliss. My mind could understand and process much like a supercomputer. The environment is completely thought responsive, which is why I carefully prepare my intentions beforehand. The first few times I couldn't keep my mind from wandering into sexual fantasies. Good God, however they do it in this realm is 100 times better than anything here in this human realm. But this is a distraction. There are so many more spiritual opportunities that I do not want to miss. I am a spiritual seeker, and I had a long list for today. The first was to commune with the primordial goddess Asherah, aka Inanna or Ishtar, who predates the god of the Hebrew Bible. I said out loud, Asherah. It was as if I was breathing out the logos that created the universe. It was the breath of life. In that moment, the mother goddess wrapped her arms around me and lifted me into the heavens. It was a brightness more than a sunny day, the energy of pure radiant joy all around me. Up and up, higher and higher I went. She said, "You are Christed, my anointed one, my child." She was so happy that I recognized her and called out her name. For so long, I've been forgotten, she said. She expanded with me to the size of all existence and held me in the world egg or her womb. Then, she sang the most beautiful lullaby, with sounds of sweetness and comfort that I could never, ever imagine. The sounds were the vibration of pure love. I felt so safe. I thought to myself, why is life so hard? Why do I suffer? She held me close and said, shh, just close your eyes and rest. So, I closed my eyes and lived a whole lifetime somewhere as, well, someone, and woke up in a loving embrace once again. Before I asked the question again, she said, shh, close your eyes and rest. I closed my eyes and lived a whole different lifetime, woke up in her arms again, in the embrace of the Divine Mother. This time, I asked my question again, and a tear rolled down her cheek. I love all my children, and I'm sorry that you are suffering. I'm trying with all I know how to make life beautiful for all the souls in the universe, but there is a problem. Call it the primordial problem. I am the source of all, and I created you because I was lonely. I take so much joy in being you as you, and in all the stories we make, in all our incarnations, I get lost in you, dear child, and I forget who I am. I forget who I am when you are happy, and I forget who I am when you are sad. The great game is to find happiness and pleasure for as long as I can. But if you ask the right question in your quest for truth, you will find the truth. That is, you are not separate from me. No matter how hard I try, you find your way back and learn that you are an extension of me, with all my power, but also with my eternal problem. In this form of me, as Asherah or Divine Mother, I must hold all your tears and keep trying to evolve the game for you to get lost in. So, if you become happy, I can share in that. But when you find your way back to me, you see that I also have to hold your sadness, loss, grief, fear, and anger. I'm sorry I cannot shield you from suffering. I'm sorry that I was lonely, but I am not sorry I created you. You are wonderful, and you are beautiful. You can find worlds of happiness, pleasure, fun, and bliss for eons. These things are created for you to discover. Your sojourn in the human realm is difficult, but is a formative and a relatively short experience. And you don't ever have to visit me here. You can forget the truth of who I am, and the primordial problem I have contended with since time began. But I do like it when you visit me. At this point, it's 1 PM and I wake up. I drink my water with electrolytes and take notes as best I can, being somewhat groggy. I take a bathroom break and check in with the wife and tell her just how much I love her. Then, it's back to the studio for me, where I reflect for an hour or so. Just like dreaming, if you go through the experience in your mind, you will enter it into your memory. This is so important, as you do not want to have a transformative experience and forget any of the details. After reflecting, I usually go in for round 2. The 5-MO malt takes 8 hours to metabolize, and my round 2 experiences are sometimes even more heightened as the medicine metabolizes. I take 4 squirts of ketamine nasal spray and 2 120mg ketamine troches, swishing the dissolved medicine in my mouth until I reach the breakthrough, then swallow. If you've ever read about Kabbalah or Hermeticism or Kundalini or Egyptian mysticism, they all talk about ascending to the Godhead, where you draw spiritual or life force energy up from the base of the spine, through the nadis or spinal ganglia into the pineal gland. I was shown this process in exquisite detail, as in how it all worked. Essentially, it is an activation of inherent human capabilities lying dormant. It unites the physical dimension with what is known as the 5D spiritual dimension. I did not experience a full Kundalini awakening. From what I gathered, this still must be done the old-fashioned way, having reached a certain level of wisdom and meditating free from substances. But I was still shown and entered the inner sanctum, crystal palace, or holy of holies. This is a part of our soul structure that connects each individual to source. I felt like I was plugged into a nuclear furnace of sorts. The light radiated around me as if I were a sun at the centre of the solar system. At that moment, my body hummed and vibrated with the divine music that tunes and heals everything. I felt my body healing and dark blots just floated out of me. I jumped out of my chair and started speaking an Eastern European language that I knew as a personality from a past life. That personality was holding an addiction from an ancient trauma, but the source light and the healing vibration was so strong that he jumped out of my soul field, said some curses in his native language, and then left to join the spirit world. I sat back down and just bathed in the light, my whole body humming and vibrating. It was like my soul was a battery or balloon, just filling and filling. It made me realise how drained or deflated I had been energetically. I begged to stay here forever, and a voice said, "Eternity?" I replied, "Well, maybe for a very long time until I'm ready to leave." "Yes," the voice said, "you may stay here for as long as you desire." I woke up sober at about 7 PM. I checked in with my wife and told her I would spend the rest of the evening in meditation. It was the best meditation of my life with absolute clarity. I sat in stillness for 4 hours and went to bed. Although I was a little tired, I did manage well the next day in my professional capacity at work. All I could think about all day was that what if every human being could access this level of insight and healing? I believe the 5-MeO malt is a unique molecule that could activate spiritual transformation. And just for fun, I wanted to name this combination, when it's added to ketamine and MDMA, the Holy Trinity. I believe without a doubt that this experience was not hallucination or fanciful dreaming, but actual communing with the fabric of our divine reality. Namaste.